The burning. The two suns hung low over New Hope's wheat fields when the sky caught fire. Nobody on the colony heard the warnings. The Krell warships dropped from hyperspace too fast, their weapons already hot. The first plasma beam struck the central city at exactly 14:23 local time. 500,000 people turned to ash in 3 seconds. Tom Harris was fixing his tractor when the world ended. He looked up and saw the ships, massive things dark against the orange sky. His daughter was playing near the barn. He ran. He almost reached her. The second wave of fire swept across the fields. Tom's body flew 20 feet. When he opened his eyes, half his face was burnt meat. His daughter was gone. Just a dark spot on the scorched ground. He crawled to his emergency pod. His fingers left blood trails on the metal. The recording chip was still working. He pressed record. Earth. They came without warning. 7 million of us. All gone. Tell them we died screaming. The pod launched. Tom died 3 minutes later, but his message traveled faster than light. Captain James Reed was drinking coffee when the alert came through. He set the cup down slowly, watched the liquid ripple from his shaking hand. The video played on the main screen. The bridge crew watched in silence. Children running from fire. Mothers holding babies that were already dead. And in one corner of the frame, a Krell officer, his mandibles clicking in what passed for laughter. "Play it again," Reed said quietly. "Sir, maybe we should—" I said play it again. They watched it 7 times, once for each million dead. The war room sat 3 miles under Denver. President Martha Cole stood at the head of the table, her face gray. Around her, Earth's leaders argued. "We need to contact the Galactic Council. File a formal protest." "A protest?" Admiral Richard Black's voice cut like glass. "They burned our children. We don't file paperwork. We file them into graves. We're talking about starting a war with an empire that controls 40 star systems. No." Black leaned forward. "We're talking about ending an empire that killed 7 million humans." The vote took 30 seconds. The result was unanimous. In the orbital yards above Earth, engineers worked under arc lights that never dimmed. They pulled tarps off weapons that had waited in darkness for 50 years. Dr. Lisa Park stood before the first Hellfire torpedo. It was beautiful in a terrible way, 10 meters of focused death. She touched its cold surface. Her sister Emma had lived on New Hope. Emma who loved music and terrible jokes. Emma who sent letters every week. Emma who was now atomic dust scattered across a dead world. Lisa's hand moved to the arming switch. "For Emma," she whispered, and threw it. Beyond Neptune, the fleet gathered like wolves. 200 warships. Earth had built them in secret, hidden in asteroid fields and dark moons. Now they assembled in formation, their hulls painted flat black, their weapons hungry. Captain Reed stood on the bridge of the Retribution. Behind him, his crew worked in focused silence. They'd all watched Tom's video. They'd all seen the laughing Krell. Reed activated the fleet-wide channel. 3 weeks ago, the Krell murdered 7 million of our people. They did it to send a message, to show us our place. He paused. Today, we send our reply. We're going to their homeworld. We're going to teach them what happens when you touch humanity's children. When we're done, the Krell will be a warning whispered in the dark spaces between stars. The channel filled with voices. Not cheers, something colder. Agreement. 6 days through dark space. 6 days of silence and preparation. Young pilot Danny Morris sat in his fighter, going through pre-flight checks for the 100th time. His hands were steady now. Fear had burned away, leaving only purpose. He thought about the video, about the child who looked like his little brother, about the mother who could have been his own. "Not even once," he said to his reflection in the cockpit glass. "I won't miss. Not even once." The first Krell patrol never knew what killed them. 5 ships against 200. Admiral Black didn't even slow down. Fire. The Hellfire torpedoes moved faster than thought. The Krell shields lasted half a second. Then there was only expanding clouds of debris and frozen bodies tumbling through vacuum. One ship tried to surrender. Its distress signal flashed in perfect English. Captain Reed looked at the signal. He thought about Tom Harris crawling through ash. Denied, he said. Fire. The reckoning. The warning reached the Krell homeworld at light speed. By then it was already too late. Commander Vex sat in his command throne watching the tactical display with growing disbelief. Red icons blinked across the screen. Each one represented a destroyed colony. 15 so far. The humans weren't slowing down. How many ships do they have? He demanded. His officer's voice shook. 200 confirmed, maybe more. They're using weapons we've never seen before. Our shields don't stop them. Vex's mandibles clicked nervously. He had ordered the New Hope attack himself. It was supposed to be simple. Humans were traders, explorers, soft things that talked about peace and cooperation. Activate the defense fleet. All of it. Sir, they're still 4 days away. Do it now. The retribution cut through space like a blade. Behind it, the fleet moved in perfect formation. They had burned 12 more outposts since the first patrol. No survivors, no prisoners, no mercy. Captain Reed stood at his station watching the numbers climb. Krell casualties, 2.3 million and rising. Sir, his communications officer said quietly. The Galactic Council is demanding we cease fire. They're calling this a war crime. Reed's laugh was cold. Tell them to count to 7 million, then we'll talk about war crimes. He cut the channel. Dr. Lisa Park worked in the weapons bay, her hands moving with practiced precision. The Hellfire torpedoes were just the beginning. Now they were deploying the Reapers. Each Reaper was a small sphere, barely larger than a basketball. But inside was enough antimatter to vaporize a city block. They were smart weapons. They could think, hunt, choose targets. Lisa loaded the first batch into the launch tubes. 50 spheres, 50 small suns waiting to be born. Her hands didn't shake anymore. She was past grief now, past anger. She existed in a cold place where only mathematics mattered. Trajectories, yield calculations, body counts. All loaded, she reported. Ready to fire on your command. The Krell defense fleet met them at the edge of their home system. 500 warships. The largest fleet the Krell had ever assembled. Admiral Black studied the formation. Against most enemies, it would be overwhelming. Launch the Reapers, he said calmly. The small spheres shot forward, moving at impossible speeds. The Krell opened fire. Their plasma beams filled space with light. They hit nothing. The Reapers were too small, too fast, too smart. They wove through the defensive fire like dancers. Each one chose its target with cold precision. Then they detonated. Space turned white. When the light faded, the Krell fleet was gone. Just expanding clouds of gas where 500 warships had been. Not debris, not even atoms, just energy dissipating into the void. Clear path to the homeworld, the tactical officer reported. His voice was empty. They had just killed 2 million Krell in 30 seconds. Proceed, Black said. On the homeworld, panic spread like fire. The defense fleet was gone. Impossible, but true. Now orbital sensors showed the human fleet approaching. 200 ships of death. Vex stood in the planetary command center, surrounded by screens showing chaos. Riots in the streets, ships fleeing the orbital stations. His people finally understood what was coming. Broadcast surrender, he ordered. All channels. Tell them we yield. Tell them, Sir, incoming message from the human fleet. Captain Reed's face appeared on the screen. His eyes were empty of everything except purpose. Commander Vex, I know you're listening. This is not a negotiation. You killed 7 million humans because you wanted to send a message. We received it. He leaned forward. Now receive ours. What you did to New Hope, we're going to do to your world. We're going to burn it. Every city, every town, every living thing. And when we're done, we're going to leave one witness alive. One survivor to tell the galaxy what happens when you touch humanity's children. The screen went black. Vex's legs gave out. He fell to his knees. Evacuate, he whispered. Evacuate everyone. Get the civilians off-world. Please, the children. There's no time, sir. They're already in orbit. Danny Morris flew his fighter through the upper atmosphere. Below him, the Krell capital city sprawled across the landscape. Billions of lights. Billions of lives. He armed his weapons. Behind him, 199 other ships did the same. For New Hope, he whispered. The order came through. One word from Admiral Black. Fire. The sky above the Krell homeworld turned to flame. The message, the bombardment, lasted exactly 3 hours. The same amount of time the Krell had spent destroying New Hope. Captain Reed watched from the bridge as the planet below turned from green and blue to red and black. The Hellfire torpedoes fell like rain. Each impact created a firestorm that consumed everything for 50 miles. Cities became craters. Forests became ash. Oceans boiled. The Krell tried to flee. Thousands of civilian ships lifted off in desperation. Admiral Black let them go. This wasn't about killing refugees. This was about making sure the Krell homeworld burned the same way New Hope had burned. Dr. Lisa Park monitored the weapon systems. The numbers scrolled past her screen. Temperature readings. Casualty estimates. Destruction percentages 90% of all structures destroyed. 95%, 98%. She thought about Emma, about the video of New Hope, about 7 million voices that would never speak. Again, enough, she said quietly, into her headset. The bombardment stopped. Silence filled the command center. The fleet hung in orbit above a dying world. Smoke covered the planet like a burial shroud. Fires burned across 3 continents. Casualty estimate? Admiral Black asked. The tactical officer's voice was barely a whisper. 6.8 million. Still rising from secondary effects, almost 7 million. Almost even. Reed activated the communication system. Scan for survivors. Find me Commander Vex. It took 20 minutes. They found him in an underground bunker beneath what used to be the capital. The bunker's power was failing. Vex sat alone in the dark, surrounded by silent communication equipment. Bring him up, Reed ordered. The shuttle brought Vex to the Retribution. 2 Marines escorted him to the bridge. His armor was scorched. His mandibles trembled. Captain Reed stood waiting. The entire bridge crew watched in silence. You murdered my people, Vex said. His voice shook with rage and grief. We killed soldiers on a colony world. You destroyed our home, our families, our children. You're monsters. Reed's face didn't change. He pulled up a holographic display. Tom Harris's last message played again. The burning children, the screaming mothers, the laughing Krell officer. 7 million humans on New Hope, Reed said quietly. Farmers, teachers, children playing in fields. You killed them to send a message. He stepped closer. We killed 7 million Krell to send one back. What message? Vex spat. That you're butchers? That you're no better than us? No, Reed's voice was ice. That humanity protects its own. That if you touch our children, we will end you. Not just defeat you. End you. Your world is ash. Your fleet is gone. Your empire is broken. And you're going to live to tell everyone why. He gestured to the Marines. Put him in an escape pod. Send him to the Galactic Council. The pod launched an hour later. Inside, Vex sat strapped to the seat, watching his homeworld shrink behind him. The planet that had stood for 10,000 years was now a smoking ruin. A recording device blinked red on the console. The humans had left it running. They wanted him to document everything. To tell the galaxy what happened when you made humanity angry. Vex stared at the camera. What could he say? That his people had started this? That 7 million human deaths deserved 7 million Krell deaths in return? He said nothing. Just watched his world die in the distance. The human fleet departed Krell space 3 days later. Behind them, the Empire collapsed. Vassal species broke away. Trade routes dissolved. The Krell, once masters of 40 systems, were reduced to scattered refugee groups begging for sanctuary. The Galactic Council convened an emergency session. Representatives from 200 species watched the recordings. Tom Harris's message, Vex's testimony, the before and after images of both worlds. The humans have violated every rule of civilized warfare, the council leader declared. Ambassador Kate Wilson stood to address the chamber. She was Earth's voice to the galaxy. Her face was carved from stone. New Hope violated nothing, she said. They were civilians, families. The Krell burned them alive and laughed. So we showed them what fire feels like. She looked around the chamber. If any species here thinks humanity will tolerate attacks on our worlds, look at what's left of the Krell homeworld. That's your answer. Silence filled the chamber. Let me be clear, Wilson continued. We don't want war. We don't want to be feared. But we will never again let our people die while we beg for justice. 7 million humans are dead. 7 million Krell paid the price. The account is settled. She sat down. The vote came quickly. No sanctions against Earth, no punishment. Just a note added to humanity's file in the Council records. Species classification. Do not provoke. On Earth, memorials rose in every city. 7 million names carved in black stone. Tom Harris's name was first. Emma Parks was there too. All of them remembered. Captain Reed stood before the memorial in Denver. Rain fell on the polished stone. He touched his sister's name. She had been a teacher on New Hope. We made them pay, he whispered. Every single one. Behind him, the city went about its day. Children played. People laughed. Life continued. But in the dark between stars, the other species remembered. They whispered the story to their young. They taught the lesson humanity had burned into the galaxy with fire and rage. Never touch their children. Never make humanity choose vengeance. Because when humans decide to burn the stars, nothing stops them. The end.